Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I do hope that you'll stay until the end of this video because in this particular video, we're going to talk about why should you hire a contractor. All right, so let's break it down first. In terms of construction projects, generally speaking, contractors will provide you with a workforce, the equipment, materials, and services, okay? So that's everything that the contractor will provide for you for your construction project. But interestingly enough, they actually don't own any of these things. So what they do is they make contracts and reach out to these things so that all of them will provide their services for your construction project. Okay? So in essence, a contractor is a person, group, company that contracts the means to materialize a vision. Okay, so it sounds a bit confusing, but it'll make sense in a moment. So let's go ahead and take a step back here. So before we get into a construction project, you need to have a vision, all right? So when I say vision, I mean you have to have a plan, and this plan is going to provide all the details you need in order to have someone look into it and make it into a reality, right? Okay, so let's say there's you. Okay? Now you are amazing. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You are amazing, all right? So you, the amazing you seek out an architect because you want your construction project, what you want to construct to be just as amazing as you are. So the interesting thing about hiring an architect is it should be a two-way street, right? You talk to the architect talks to you. You both mesh your ideas, and then the architect is going to help you provide a vision. Okay? So, based on the interactions with you, the architect will be able to develop an idea that they can design for you, and that will be the vision. Okay? And the interesting thing about this vision is technically the architect owns it. Okay? It's what we call intellectual property. So that's why when you hire an architect, it's kind of rude to say that you designed it, you designed their vision because uh, they're the one that comes up with the ideas for you. Okay, so if they design everything from scratch, they provide you the vision, they still own it intellectually. It's an intellectual property. Okay, but that being said, they can sell that vision to you. Okay, you don't own it, but you're allowed to build it because you've been given the authority to have it constructed for your personal use or personal gain, what have you. Okay, so now when the vision is completed, once you go through all the conversations, you'll see that here that the architect is always the one giving out the vision, and then the vision will be presented to you, and then you'll have your back and forth with the architect again. The vision will be revised or will be remade, or it will be thrown out, brought into a new. It depends on what happens with your interaction with the architect. Okay, and there are some cases where you might even fire the architect and hire a new architect. It happens. But anyway, the next part of that is depending on how big the project is. The architect will help you in consulting with other people. Namely, they'll look for engineers, all the different kinds of engineers. You have your civil engineer, structural engineer, electronics engineer, electrical engineer, geodetic engineer. There's other engineers, telecommunications engineers. There's a lot, okay? I'm not going to be able to name them all at the top of my head, but there's a lot of them. Landscape architects, so you have your horticulturists, culturists, botanists, what have you. I can't name them all on the top of my head either. I'm sorry. Interior designers, uh, yeah, interior designers. They have their specialties as well, and of course other architects. So it all depends on how big the project is. When it comes to like other architects, like even us as architects, we specialize in our own uh, fields. At times we specialize in our own fields. Sometimes it can be lighting. Sometimes it can be spaces. It can be urban design. It all depends. There's a bunch of different kinds of specialized architects out there. Okay. But the head architect is all the vision always comes from the head architect. So the one that you're discussing with, they're the ones who's always going to provide the overall plan. So in essence, uh, for the most part, all of the people that the architect consults with will always have a two-way communication. Architect will consult with engineers to see like, is this possible? Is there a different way to do this if it's not possible? Is there a way that we won't compromise the design or the vision, right? Then they go to landscape architects. They discuss like the different kind of vegetation they can put into the design in order to make, the area healthy and the like vegetation lively. Interior designers will like provide the different kinds of themes that they can put into the vision to make it even more make the theme even more powerful than it already was. And the other specialized services, the specialized architects will provide input on like how they can like improve it even more. So it all depends on how big the project is. Okay, and so depending on how big the project is how many people the architect may consult with. But for the most part, most of the time it's just engineers. If it's like just a small house, it may just be another engineer, or maybe another interior designer, and then everything else uh, may just come from the architect. Uh, it, in the end, it just depends on how big the project is. Okay, so now, after everything is finalized, the architect will give you the vision so that you can have it built. So now you're going to have to start your construction project. So let's go back to you. Um, from this point, the architect may provide services like providing quality checks. They'll see how well the building is coming along and give any advice on how to make it better. But overall, uh, however you handle the construction of the project is up to you. Like for me, for example, I make all the plans and I make sure that everything works, everything's up to code, uh, you know, everything is just right, everything works together. But in the end, you own, you own what's being built. Like I said, the architect owns the intellectual property of the design, but what's being built is owned by you. Okay, so that means after you have it built, you own that building. Okay, so now let's say you don't want to hire a contractor. So all of the things that we saw earlier, the workforce, the equipment, the materials, and the services, you're the one who's going to have to reach out to all of them. And it seems simple enough, but I'm going to start throwing some examples of all the little details or all the little things that actually come with handling all of these particular particular things. So for the workforce, you have people like masons, you have painters, electricians, welders, carpenters. That's just the work. That's only a handful of different types of people that you'll have working for you on the workforce, and you'll have like several of them for each one, not just one of each. Then for the equipment, you'll have tools, accessories, vehicles, materials, you'll have consumables, cement, wood, metals, and for services, hauling, documentation, consulting, and payroll. Payroll, that's one of the more stressful ones actually. Furthermore, for the workforce, you have to deal with their health care. You have to make sure that everybody's safe. You have to make sure that everyone is healthy. You have to deal with their scheduling, especially if they have rotating shifts. For the equipment, you have to deal with repairs. If anything breaks, you have to deal with parking for vehicles, consumables, proper storage. You have to know how to store them. You have to deal with the waste. You have to know where to put the waste, how to properly store the waste. For services, you have to deal with the legalities. You have to know what you can and can't do, and then the formalities of like how to actually approach these things. And this the details just go on and on. It doesn't end there, you know. And there's just you. You know, you're amazing and everything, but you know it's just you. So let's go back again. So you, like I said, you're amazing. Okay, you are amazing. Now, to do this, you'll most likely need some knowledge, which is not a problem. You know, I believe that anyone is capable of learning anything. It just you just have to put the effort, and eventually you'll be able to understand it, right? And then there's the experience. Another thing that anybody can gain. You know, I really hate it when you look for a job that says 2 years work experience, 1 year work. Like, why? You're gonna get the experience, okay? There's no problem there. Gaining experience, all you have to do is have the willpower, man. The big problem, though, is time, okay? You can gain all of the knowledge if you have enough time. You can gain all of the experience if you have enough time. But in the end of the day, the question is, do you have the time? You know, it's one thing that you have to handle all of those other things previously mentioned, but you know, now you have to have the experience, you have to gain the knowledge. Do you have the time to do it all? And then you have to handle it all. Do you have the time to do it all? So, in essence, to make it simpler on yourself, there are contractors. And now all of those things that we just looked at before, you don't have to deal with them directly. You just have to talk to the contractor. Contractor will handle everything. The contractor is a full-time person at that particular field, you know, in the field of construction, handling all of those things, right? And in essence, that's why I would say that you should hire a contractor. And this is why you should hire a contractor, because at the end of the day, uh, it'll be a more healthier choice for you because now you don't have that much stress. The only person you have to deal with is the contractor, provided that they are, you know, they have the proper documentation and all of the credentials. Um, and you know, hopefully you know, if you go through a bidding process, you can see which you can like interview the different contractors that will, you know, sign up or want to accept your construction project, and then you can have a better understanding of like if this is a person you can trust with your project. And you know, it's really interesting though. I'm not gonna say that every contractor is like a saint, you know. Everybody has their ups and downs. Everybody, there's always a good seed and a bad seed. But at the end of the day, as well, if you're not, you know, jiving very well with the contractor doing during the construction of your project, then you can discuss it with them, and you can either part ways and hire a new contractor, or you can try to solve the issues that you have with your current contractor. But at the end of the day, at least you're only dealing with the contractor. You're not dealing with all of the other things that the contractor does anymore. You know, now that's the contractor's concern. So I hope this gives you like an insight on what exactly a contractor does. And I hope if you're a contractor, it gives you an insight, or if you want to be a contractor, it gives you an insight on what you have to deal with as a contractor. So, who can be a contractor? Well, I'll probably talk about that in another video. But for this video, I'm gonna end it right here. Hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But anyway, take care, everybody. I hope we can always better ourselves, and bye bye.